Hi, this is Amish Agarwal. I'm an advocate. I just stepped out of Noida courts after arguing an application under section 156, clause 3 of the Criminal Procedure Code, and I thought I'll make a small video about the requirements for the same. This is a very crucial section to deal with if you're a criminal lawyer or you have a criminal case and you want to deal with the police. What section 156 clause 3 says is that if you submit a complaint to the police and you want the police to investigate into that complaint and the police is not doing so, you have the right under section 156 clause 3 to go to the magistrate and say that I have given information of a cognizable offence to the police. Cognizable means an offence which the police has a power to investigate. For example, defamation is a non-cognizable offence, because of which if I go to the police station and say that this person defamed me, the police cannot register an FIR on that. Cognizable is almost everything else, almost 95% of all the offences mentioned in the Indian Penal Code and other statute books. They are all cognizable offences. So if I go to the magistrate and I say that I have given this complaint to the police, they are not registering an FIR, the magistrate can, upon listening to you under section 156 clause 3, direct the police to register the FIR and to investigate into the matter. But before you go and file this 156.3, you must know that there are 3 questions that the judge will ask you on the very first day that you file this application under section 156 clause 3. The 3 questions will be: first, is the offence cognizable or not? So you need to point out what are the offences which are made out, whether it's cheating, whether it's rape, murder, dacoity, whatever it is. Second question the judge will ask is, did you give a written complaint to the police? Now in places like Delhi, they will immediately give you a receiving an acknowledgement of whatever complaint you have given on a photocopy of that complaint. However, places like Noida, Gurgaon, any other place that I've tried outside of Delhi to submit a complaint, they're very smart. They never give you an acknowledgement. So if they want to play dirty, you will not even have a record of the fact that these people, that you submitted a complaint to these people on this particular date. The solution to that is you either via speed post or some other concrete way of showing that you did address this communication to this particular police station on this particular date. You need to show that you have to have a record. Record could be the speed post, or it could be email, or it could be both. Apart from that, the third question that is also required for the law before as a matter of law, before the judge issues notice to the police and directs them to file something what is called a status report or an action taken report, depending on the place. You have to also submit a copy of this complaint to the DCP, and you have to request the DCP as well to direct the police officer to launch an investigation. If the DCP also fails, then you move your application under section 156.3. Almost everyone knows that if the police are not going to launch an investigation upon you submitting the complaint, then in any case they are not going to do it even if the DCP directs them, because the DCP is also not going to give any sort of direction. As this we know as a matter of practice. So this is what we do practically. If today an offence is committed and nothing is being done, I go and submit my complaint to the police. I get a receiving of that from the police. If they don't give a receiving, I send it via speed post. The next day, I send a letter to the DCP, either again through email or through speed post, saying that I've given this information, they're not doing anything. And then on the third day, technically, and this is what we do on a lot of occasions, third day itself, without even waiting for any responses from these people, we directly approach the magistrate's court, because we have now complied with whatever the law asks us to do before we file this application under section 156 clause 3. And once we file this, the judge will then in all probability issue notice to the police, tell them to do this. There have been occasions where, in a case where 30 lakhs was stolen from a client, we moved this application under section 156 clause 3, and just 5 days later the police registered the FIR, went to chase down the fellow in no other place but the glorious state of UP, arrested that person, got the client the money back. However, having said that, majority of the cases where we do file section 156 clause 3 applications, if the police themselves are not registered an FIR, after that, in all likelihood, no matter how grievous your situation, the magistrate usually says, I do not want to direct the police to register an FIR into this kind of a situation, no matter what situation it might be. The judge will say, I am going to dismiss your 156.3, I am going to treat it as an application under section 200 of the Criminal Procedure Code, which means that you have two options to approach the court. One is under 156.3. Second is directly approach the court and say that this is my grievance, this is the offense which has been committed by this XYZ person. So the court takes your testimony on oath, gavahi leke pura, and then the court, upon consideration of the evidence that you have given to the court, will issue notice to the other person to come and straight away stand trial. So majority of the situations, when the police does when the magistrate does go through the application, status report is filed by the police says we investigated, nothing came out, or we did not receive a copy of the complaint, as it happened today as well. There is a huge likelihood that the court will say that I'm going to treat this as a complaint under section 200 CRPC, come give your testimony and then we'll take it forward. One way to deal with that is that you explain to the magistrate why do you need the police to investigate into the matter. Say for example, if I have borrowed 5,000 rupees from you and I file a complaint that this person has cheated me out of 5,000 rupees. So if you borrow 5,000 from me and I go to the judge and say he has cheated 5,000, I gave a complaint to the police, the judge, and I'm now coming under 156, the judge is going to say, why don't you give your testimony, and that's it, and then we will call you to the court to stand trial. There I would give the explanation. If it arises that there is WhatsApp communication, there is perhaps email addresses, there is perhaps a bank account transfer which is not in my control, which is in the control of the accused person, some data which is there with the accused person, some information which is in the exclusive control of the accused person, or with some, say, government body, because of which it is not possible for me to produce that data, because of which my evidence by itself is not going to be sufficient for this court to summon the accused person, and therefore we need the police, which has far wider powers of investigation, to be able to summon the accused person, to be able to summon bank documents, government records, all sorts of things under the sun. And that is why police investigation is required. And in those kind of circumstances, the judge agrees and says, all right, we are directing the police to investigate into the matter by registering an FIR. There is, however, no harm in giving your testimony before the court under section 200 CRPC itself. Yet, as a matter of practicality, people prefer 156 because if, say, perhaps it's a cheating case and you want the person to also, apart from facing trial, which is inevitable, which will happen maybe, say, 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line, you want the person to be arrested immediately by the police as well, as a method of coercion perhaps. A lot of people do this because they know that cheating, the moment an FIR is registered, the accused person now will have to either go and seek anticipatory bail, or the police will come and arrest that person, and that person will spend a couple of days, weeks, months, or maybe a couple of years in jail. And that is why a lot of people prefer going to the police and getting that FIR registered, and if the police is not registering that FIR, to go and file an application under section 156.3 before the court, so that hook or crook, 156.3 is registered, and the moment that is registered, bingo, in all probability the accused person will either be arrested or will have to spend lakhs of rupees trying to get anticipatory bail. And that is how the criminal justice system of this country works. But coming back to the point, the original point, at least if you want the judge to get issue notice under section 156 clause 3 of the Criminal Procedure Code, the three things you need to remember is the judge will ask you whether these offences are cognizable or not, whether you have submitted a complaint to the police station or not, and whether you have submitted a copy of representation or a complaint to the DCP as well, saying that the SHO is not conducting any investigation into the matter. Only if these three requirements are fulfilled, 99% the judge will at the very least issue notice in your situation. If either of these three is lacking, the judge will at the very first hearing dismiss your application under section 156 clause 3 of the Criminal Procedure Code.